20 old house styles no longer built today. Ever wondered why some of the most charming, quirky, and bold house styles disappeared from our neighborhoods? From steel homes to storybook cottages, these once popular designs each have a story to tell. Let's explore 20 fascinating old house styles that shaped American history. Some timeless, some forgotten, but all unforgettable. Queen Anne style. From 1880 to 1910, the Queen Anne style took center stage in American home design, pushing aside the stiff and formal Second Empire look. It was a period full of architectural imagination, and Queen Anne homes brought a playful, almost fairy tale feel to neighborhoods. These houses grabbed attention with their uneven shapes, wide wraparound porches, and detailed wood trim. They often featured patterned shingles, cozy bay windows, and colorful stained glass, adding texture and charm to every corner. Some even had eye-catching towers or turrets, giving them a fairy tale castle-like vibe. One of the things that made Queen Anne homes stand out was their individuality. No two were exactly alike. Builders mixed different roof lines, sharp gables, dormer windows, and fancy trim to create one-of-a-kind homes. These houses were meant to wow you, showing off the wealth and upbeat mood of the late 1800s. But after 1900, people started leaning towards simpler styles like Colonial Revival and Craftsman, and Queen Anne homes slowly fell out of favor. Still, a few breathtaking examples have survived. One of the best known is the Carson Mansion in Eureka, California. With its sky-high spires and over-the-top details, it's a perfect snapshot of Queen Anne's splendor and flair. Octagon Houses. Octagon houses had a moment in the spotlight between the 1850s and 1870s, mostly because of one man, Orson Squire Fowler. He was a big supporter of this unusual shape, arguing it gave homeowners more space, better air circulation, and lots of natural sunlight. The idea behind it was pretty clever. By using an 8-sided design instead of the usual square or rectangle, people could get about 20% more interior room without having to expand the house's footprint. That made it a smart option for folks looking to stretch their space efficiently. These homes typically featured flat roofs, cupolas in the center to bring in light and air, and broad verandas that wrapped around the house, tying everything together. Inside, the open layout helped air move freely, which made summers a bit cooler, and the house more livable overall. But even with these clever benefits, the style never became widely popular. A few still stand today, like Longwood Mansion in Natchez, Mississippi, and the Octagon House in Watertown, Wisconsin. Fowler's own house, called Fowler's Folly, was eventually torn down. Still, Octagon houses are a fun reminder of a time when home design was full of bold, new ideas. Tudor Revival. The Tudor Revival style made its mark on American neighborhoods between the 1890s and the 1940s, adding a bit of medieval English flair to the landscape. Drawing from the look of 16th century cottages and manor houses, these homes were easy to spot with their steep gabled roofs, eye-catching half-timbered exteriors, and tall chimneys dressed up with fancy brickwork or chimney pots. In the early 1900s, many wealthy Americans gravitated toward this style because it gave off a sense of age-old charm and fine craftsmanship. These houses usually had arched front doors, leaded glass windows, and textured stucco or brick walls that made them look like they came straight out of a storybook. Inside, you'd often find exposed beams, big fireplaces, and cozy rooms that didn't always follow a perfect shape. Just part of the charm. But after World War II, tastes changed. People wanted simpler, more modern homes, and Tudor Revival faded out. By the time the 1970s and 1980s rolled around, some builders tried to bring back the look using fake wood and manufactured stone, though those versions often missed the authentic feel that made the originals special. American Foursquare. The American Foursquare came onto the scene in the late 1800s as a pushback against the fancy, over-the-top Victorian houses that had filled neighborhoods for years. By then, folks were looking for homes that were simpler, more practical, and easier to live in. And the Foursquare fit the bill. Built from around 1895 to 1939, these homes had a boxy 2.5-story shape that packed in plenty of space without all the fuss. Often nicknamed the Prairie Box, this style shared some ideas with the Prairie School movement, linked to architects like Frank Lloyd Wright. Foursquares were easy to spot. They usually had a balanced look, a roomy front porch held up by solid columns, a hipped roof with a central dormer, and handy built-ins like shelves and cabinets. Inside, they focused on open layouts that felt bright and comfortable without being showy. What really helped the Foursquare catch on was how affordable it became. Companies like Sears, Roebuck and Company, and Aladdin sold them as mail-order kits, making it possible for families all over the U.S. to own one. With their solid build and smart design, many are still standing today, offering a peek into practical early 20th century living. Shotgun House. The shotgun house stands out as one of the most recognizable and lasting home styles in the American South, especially between the 1870s and 1920s. These homes were long, narrow, and rectangular, with rooms lined up one after another in a straight row, often without any hallways. The layout wasn't just simple, it worked well in the southern heat, letting air flow easily from front to back. While they're often tied to New Orleans, shotgun houses likely trace their roots to Haitian and West African building traditions, brought over through cultural ties in the Caribbean. The design was no-nonsense and affordable, which made it ideal for working-class families. These homes also made smart use of space, allowing many to be built side by side on small city lots. As years passed, many of these homes fell into neglect, especially in older neighborhoods. But in recent years, shotgun houses have made a comeback, with cities like New Orleans restoring them as part of revitalization projects. One of the most well-known examples is the modest house in Tupelo, Mississippi, where Elvis Presley was born, a small but powerful symbol of this uniquely Southern way of building. Which of these house styles would you move into tomorrow, even if it came with creaky floors and a ghost named Mildred? Dutch Colonial Revival. The Dutch Colonial Revival style gained popularity between the 1910s and 1930s, bringing back the cozy feel of the 1600s and 1700s homes built by Dutch settlers in places like New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Its most recognizable feature is the gambrel roof, the kind you'd see on a barn, with 2 slopes on each side, which gave homeowners more room upstairs. Add in wide eaves, large dormer windows, and a neat, balanced front with classic shutters, and you've got a style full of charm and tradition. Unlike the original versions, which were mostly made from brick or stone, the Revival homes often used wood siding, keeping with the building styles of the early 20th century. Inside, they focused on comfort, with central hallways, big fireplaces, and snug living spaces that made the home feel warm and welcoming. Most Dutch Colonial Revival houses were simple, middle-class homes, but a few went big. The Biltmore estate, built for George Washington Vanderbilt II, included Dutch colonial touches in its larger mix of styles. And then there's 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York, famous for its eerie history and the Amityville Horror. Even though new ones stopped being built after the 1930s, these homes still hold a special place for their classic, homey look. American Craftsman. The American Craftsman style took off in the early 1900s, focusing on skilled handiwork, natural materials, and a simpler way of building homes. It was a clear move away from the fancy, overly decorated Victorian houses that came before. Instead of showy details, Craftsman homes celebrated solid wood, real stone, and custom touches made by hand. This style was especially popular from about 1905 to 1930, with California becoming a hotspot thanks to the design's open layout that worked well in the mild climate. Drawing influence from both the Prairie School and shingle styles, Craftsman homes stood out with their low-pitched roofs, wide eaves showing off exposed rafters, and eye-catching brackets or beams. Inside, many had built-in features like shelves and window seats, blending beauty and practicality. One of the key figures behind the movement was Gustav Stickley, a furniture maker and publisher who helped spread the style's popularity through his magazine, The Craftsman. Unlike the British arts and crafts movement, which often targeted the rich, the American version aimed to be more budget-friendly. But by the 1930s, simpler and more modern styles started taking over. Still, places like the Gamble House in Pasadena remain, showing off the warmth and skill that made this style so special. Lustron Homes. Lustron Homes were a daring response to the post-World War II housing crisis, built to offer affordable modern living for returning veterans and their families. Developed by Carl Strandland and produced between 1948 and 1950, these houses broke the mold, literally, by ditching wood altogether in favor of porcelain enameled steel. Inside and out, every panel was metal, making these homes resistant to fire, termites, moisture, and decay. More than 2,000 Lustron homes were constructed across the U.S., with a few shipped as far as Venezuela. Designed with practicality in mind, these houses featured wipe-clean metal walls, built-in furniture, and clever features like a combination washer-dryer unit. Almost unheard of at the time. Sold as prefabricated kits, they were delivered in pieces and assembled on-site like a life-sized jigsaw puzzle. Despite their innovation, Lustron homes faced financial hurdles and government red tape, which brought production to a halt by 1950. Still, their futuristic design and durable construction left a lasting impression. Today, surviving Lustrons are rare and cherished pieces of architectural history, with preservationists working to protect them as symbols of post-war innovation and America's bold leap into modern housing. Brutalist Homes. Brutalist homes, which appeared between the 1950s and 1970s, broke away from traditional home styles in a big way. These houses made a bold statement with their use of raw concrete, blocky shapes, and simple no-frills design. Drawing from the modernist movement and the ideas of architects like Le Corbusier, brutalism focused on purpose over decoration. The name itself comes from the French words béton brut, meaning raw concrete, the material most tied to this look. These homes were often large and solid-looking, with rough surfaces left unfinished on purpose. Inside, they leaned into open layouts, visible support beams, and strong, lasting materials. While brutalism showed up more often in public housing, college campuses, and government buildings, some designers brought its bold ideas into private homes, creating striking places that stood apart from the usual suburban neighborhoods. By the late 70s, though, brutalism started to fall out of style. People began to see it as harsh and gloomy, and many buildings were torn down or altered to look less severe. But lately, there's been a renewed interest in this raw, powerful style. More architects and preservationists are embracing its honesty, bold structure, and sculptural strength. Atomic Ranch. The Atomic Ranch took the traditional ranch house and gave it a sleek, modern twist, becoming a symbol of mid-century style in the 1950s and 1960s. These homes focused on clean design, smart use of space, and easy flow between the inside and outdoors. With open floor plans, big windows, and sharp lines, they reflected the excitement of the post-war boom and the fascination with the space age. Architect Cliff May helped lay the groundwork back in the 1930s, borrowing ideas from Spanish colonial haciendas. His home stretched out in single-story layouts, promoting laid-back, open living, a concept that really took off with the Atomic Ranch. These houses often had flat or butterfly roofs, off-center front designs, and entire glass walls that made the outside feel like part of the home. Bright colors, bold patterns, and new-age materials like formica and aluminum gave them a futuristic feel. In California, developer Joseph Eichler brought these homes to everyday families. Influenced by Bauhaus principles and Frank Lloyd Wright's Usonian ideas, Eichler's designs used post and beam framing, open-air atriums, and carports in place of garages. Though they faded from fashion for a while, atomic ranch homes are now back in demand for their cool retro vibe and timeless modern design. Thank you for watching. To continue with more content, comment 1 to let us know you're still following. Colonial house style. Colonial-style homes are some of the most classic and lasting designs in American architecture, dating all the way back to the early 1600s. Brought over by European settlers, especially the English, these homes were built with an eye for symmetry, order, and usefulness. As the years went on, different versions of colonial architecture developed, like Georgian, Federal, and Dutch colonial. Each had its own flair, but they all stayed true to the style's basic principles. These homes are usually 2 or 3 stories tall, with a simple rectangular shape and a front door right in the center, flanked by evenly spaced windows. The exterior is often brick or wood, giving the house a dignified yet welcoming look. Inside, the layout is all about function. Living areas like the kitchen and family room are downstairs, while bedrooms are tucked away upstairs, keeping the home organized and easy to live in. Details like dormer windows, shutters, and front porches with columns add extra charm. Many also feature fireplaces, a nod to their old-school roots when fire was the main source of heat. Even with their deep history, colonial homes are still a top choice today, thanks to their timeless style, smart layouts, and classic beauty. Neoclassical house style. Neoclassical homes are more than just houses. They're architectural declarations of grace, strength, and tradition. Drawing inspiration from the ancient temples of Greece and Rome, this iconic style emerged in the late 18th century and held its ground well into the early 20th. Its widespread appeal lay in its ability to blend grandeur with symmetry, making each structure feel both impressive and refined. In many cases, these homes weren't built simply for comfort. They were designed to showcase social status, education, and cultural pride. At the heart of every neoclassical home are its commanding columns, tall, elegant pillars in Doric, Ionic, or Corinthian styles that frame the entrance like the front of a temple. These columns don't just support the structure, they announce its importance. Some homes take this a step further, adding a full-length colonnade that wraps the entire front of the house, mimicking the timeless silhouette of ancient government buildings or classical estates. Beyond the columns, the architectural details continue to impress. Pediments, those triangular shapes above entrances or windows, add visual weight and historic flair. Cornices are richly molded, while pilasters and fanlights lend extra elegance around doorways. Every element is placed with precision, creating a sense of harmony that speaks to classical ideals of beauty. Inside, many neoclassical homes feature high ceilings, symmetrical layouts, and large open rooms with traditional finishes. Though the style has evolved over time, adapting to changing tastes and modern needs, it's still seen today in luxury mansions, historic landmarks, and civic buildings. Whether restored or newly built, these homes continue to symbolize timeless sophistication and architectural excellence. Cottage house style. Cottage-style homes bring to life the cozy charm of old European villages, taking cues from the thatched roof cottages of medieval England. These inviting houses really took off in the US during the 1920s and 1930s, offering a warm and whimsical break from the bigger, more formal homes of the time. With their fairy tale looks, cottage homes often have steep roofs, sometimes with cross gables that give the roofline extra character. You'll usually see arched doorways, curved wooden doors, and small paned casement windows that add to the home's storybook feel. On the outside, materials like stone, brick, or stucco give a handmade, rustic appearance that fits right in with natural surroundings. Inside, it's all about comfort and warmth. Exposed beams, built-in shelves, and a central fireplace create a snug, welcoming space. These homes might be smaller, but their layouts are smart. using every inch wisely to make rooms feel cozy and connected. Outside, you'll often find flower boxes, winding garden paths, and lush landscaping that complete the cottage's magical charm. While early cottages were simple and modest, today's versions often expand the space while keeping the same nostalgic, inviting look that has kept this style close to people's hearts for decades. Cape Cod house style. The Cape Cod house is one of the most iconic and enduring home styles in American history, beloved for its simple charm and no-nonsense functionality. It first showed up in the late 1600s, inspired by English cottages but toughened up to face New England's harsh winters. With steep roofs, shingle or clapboard siding, and a clean, symmetrical shape, these homes were built to last and look good doing it. Early Cape Cods were small, one-story homes with a large central chimney that warmed the entire house. Their steep roof lines weren't just for looks. They helped snow slide off quickly, while thick wooden walls stood firm against icy winds. Multi-pane windows brought in light, and dormers, often added later, gave the upper floor better airflow and extra space. Though they remained mostly regional for centuries, Cape Cod homes made a big comeback in the 1930s. Especially in fast-growing suburbs that needed practical, affordable homes with a classic look. Today, many Cape Cods have been expanded with second stories, garages, and modern amenities. But they still hold on to the cozy, balanced design that has made them a favorite across generations. Timeless, sturdy, and full of charm, the Cape Cod is truly an American classic. Tudor house style. Tudor-style homes bring a touch of medieval England to American streets, blending centuries-old charm with modern comfort. While the look is rooted in the architecture from England's Tudor period, 1485 to 1603, the version we know today, Tudor Revival, gained popularity in the late 1800s and early 1900s. It pulls inspiration from both cozy cottages and impressive manor houses, giving these homes a storybook feel. One of the most recognizable features is the steep, pitched roof, often broken up by cross gables that add visual interest. You'll usually spot dark wooden beams set against light stucco or stone. This half-timbering gives Tudor homes their signature look. Brick is often used too, especially around chimneys and lower walls, giving the home a warm, textured appearance. The windows are tall and narrow, with small panes grouped together, sometimes framed in dark wood or set with leaded glass to complete that old-world vibe. Step inside, and the cozy feeling continues with exposed wood beams, big stone fireplaces, and softly arched doorways. Interiors often use deep, earthy colors and rich textures to highlight the medieval flair. While original Tudor homes were grand and sprawling, the American version made the style fit perfectly into suburban neighborhoods. Did we miss your favorite historic home style? Drop it in the comments before the ghost of a Victorian architect haunts us. Country French house style. Country French homes bring a timeless, romantic feel to American neighborhoods, drawing directly from the rustic yet refined houses found in the French countryside. Introduced by French settlers in the 1700s, especially in regions like Louisiana and along the Mississippi Valley, this style reflects a perfect blend of European sophistication and rural charm. With a graceful exterior and warm, welcoming presence, these homes have remained a beloved architectural choice for centuries. Typically built as single-story dwellings, many country French homes cleverly incorporate a second level tucked beneath the steeply pitched roofline, creating a compact yet spacious feel. The exteriors are rich in texture, often combining stucco with brick or stone, and occasionally showcasing half-timbered accents reminiscent of medieval European cottages. Tall, narrow windows framed by shutters not only enhance the home's vertical elegance but also reinforce its storybook appeal. Rounded archways and wrought iron details on balconies, lanterns, or entry gates add a layer of refinement and authenticity. The roof is usually hipped or side-gabled, contributing to the home's soft, graceful lines. Many country French homes are thoughtfully positioned on generous lots, with winding driveways, manicured landscaping, and flower-filled gardens that frame the architecture beautifully. While modern versions may include expanded floor plans, open concept interiors, or updated materials, the essence of this style remains firmly rooted in its European heritage. Whether nestled in the countryside or part of a suburban development, country French homes continue to charm with their blend of rustic comfort and timeless elegance, a look that never goes out of style. Victorian house style. Victorian-style homes are some of the most dramatic and beautifully detailed houses in American architecture. Bursting with the creative spirit of the 19th century, they rose to fame during the reign of Queen Victoria from 1837 to 1901, a time when the Industrial Revolution made it possible to mass-produce intricate trim, spindles, and other decorative elements that were once handmade and costly. This shift brought ornate beauty within reach for more homeowners and helped spread the style across the country. From the street, these homes make a bold impression. Their steep, multi-gabled roofs, asymmetrical designs, and towers or turrets give them a playful, fairy tale-like charm. The exteriors are full of detail, from patterned wood shingles to carved brackets and scrollwork often referred to as gingerbread. Wraparound porches, complete with turned posts, balustrades, and decorative railings, serve both as practical outdoor spaces and as showcases for craftsmanship. Inside, Victorian homes are just as impressive. Expect high ceilings, grand staircases, elaborate moldings, and vibrant stained glass windows. Walls were typically dressed in rich, textured wallpaper, while the color palette leaned toward bold, moody tones. Deep reds, greens, and golds that added to the home's dramatic flair. Today, many homeowners restore these interiors to their former glory or blend the old with the new by introducing softer hues and modern finishes while preserving the original charm. Whether lovingly preserved or thoughtfully updated, Victorian homes remain symbols of artistic expression, careful craftsmanship, and architectural romance. A living reminder of a time when houses were as much about beauty as they were about function. Italianate house style. Italianate homes brought a touch of 19th century Italian villa elegance to American neighborhoods, thriving in popularity from the 1840s to the 1880s. These homes marked a shift from the strict symmetry of earlier styles, embracing a more romantic, decorative look inspired by the picturesque movement. One of their most eye-catching features is the deep, overhanging eaves, supported by decorative brackets, often in pairs or set in fancy patterns. The roofs are usually low-pitched or gently sloped, and many include a square tower or central cupola that gives the home a bold, dramatic profile. Windows in Italianate homes are tall and narrow, often arched at the top, drawing the eye upward and adding to the overall elegance. Many are topped with ornate crowns or pediments, adding even more visual flair. Front entrances are grand, often with double doors framed by detailed carvings or arched trim. Wraparound porches supported by slender columns and decorative railings create inviting outdoor spaces full of charm. Typically 2 or 3 stories tall, these homes have rectangular or L-shaped layouts, and their exteriors are rich with detail. Think moldings, quoins, and all those signature brackets that give them a stately feel. Though the style faded by the late 1800s, many Italianate homes still stand proudly today in historic districts, showing off their blend of European grace and American craftsmanship. Greek Revival house style. Greek Revival homes, which peaked in popularity from the 1820s to the 1860s, stand as bold, elegant tributes to ancient Greece and to the ideals of democracy and classic design. Inspired by the look of Greek temples, these houses became one of the most iconic styles in American architecture. You'll know one when you see it. Tall white columns, Doric, Ionic, or Corinthian, framing a grand entrance and holding up a triangular pediment. This strong, temple-like look gave these homes a powerful presence. The roofs are usually low-pitched or gabled, adding to the commanding feel. Greek Revival homes are all about balance. Their layouts are symmetrical, with evenly spaced rectangular windows, often topped with decorative lintels. Front doors usually feature side lights and a transom window above, bringing in light and adding a sense of openness. In the southern U.S., these homes often come with wide, shaded porches, perfect for catching a breeze or gathering with neighbors. Rocking chairs lined up on those big porches became a lasting symbol of southern hospitality. This style wasn't just for houses. Greek Revival also shaped courthouses, banks, and public buildings. Even today, these homes are admired for their timeless charm, classical proportions, and proud sense of American history. Mediterranean house style. Mediterranean-style homes bring a sense of warmth, beauty, and easy living, inspired by the classic villas of Spain, Italy, and Greece. This style became a favorite in the U.S. during the early 1900s, especially in sunny spots like California and Florida, where the weather pairs perfectly with its open, breezy design. One of the first things you'll notice is the low red tile roof, not just for looks, but also great at handling heat. The walls are usually finished in stucco or adobe, with soft, earthy colors like white, sand, or terracotta that add to the sun-soaked charm. Arches are everywhere in Mediterranean homes, framing doors, windows, and outdoor walkways, giving the design its smooth, graceful feel. Wrought iron details like balconies, railings, and decorative grills add a touch of European flair. A standout feature is the U-shaped layout built around a central courtyard, often filled with plants, a fountain, or even a fireplace. This layout encourages a true indoor-outdoor lifestyle with big windows, French doors, and shaded loggias letting in lots of sunlight and fresh air. Inside, you'll find exposed wood beams, stone or tile floors, and rich touches like painted tiles or carved wood trim. The overall vibe is relaxed and elegant, a perfect blend of rustic comfort and timeless style. Which of these forgotten house styles is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey through architectural history, check out the rest of the series. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Past Not Past with a friend. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next one.